Hello everyone, it's Katie from Katie Writes Stuff and I'm back from the beach. And I'm also going to show you what I made in June. First of all, I want to say something I haven't said ever, which is a bit rude, but thank you to all of my new subscribers and my old subscribers and everyone who's been here since the very beginning when I was rambling on about buying patterns at secondhand shops. Almost 400 of you are signing up to listen to me every week, and that's fantastic, and I love hearing from you, and it just gives me such a thrill to know that I'm not talking to myself. You are all out there, so thank you. And if you're not a subscriber yet, maybe this is the time to become one, because it's free and you get to listen to me every week. That being said, I wasn't here last week, but that was because I was away on a road trip with my friends. We went to the beach in the middle of winter and it was so much fun. I will show you some photos so you can see what you missed out on. I was wearing this jumper which kept me nice and warm, but the sleeves were problematic when eating because not everybody wants your sleeve draping through their food and picking things up, but yeah. But apart from that, it was lovely and warm. And then last Friday and Saturday I went to visit my parents. I took this sewing machine, a 201P, up with me, and my mum and I sewed on some old sewing machines and I made most of a skirt, which is fantastic because although I haven't made much stuff in June, I am pretty sure I've more than exceeded it already in July, so I'm probably going to skip July plans and just go straight into July makes in a couple of weeks. But June makes, I'm going to start with what I'm wearing because this is my entry for the Sew Back project, which is run by Harriet. I'm Hobbling Handmades. She extended the deadline till the end of July, which is great because it meant I got to finish it. I didn't finish sewing it in June, but I finished knitting it in June, so I'm going to count it as a June make. There are also some photos, so you can see me posing like a loon, showing you some of the details and the amazing stripes, and you'll also get to see the nail polish that I did on the weekend away that, well, it's not going away. It's nail polish remover resistant, but it looks great. Yeah, it's a good look for work, I'm sure. I love this jumper so much. Everyone keeps saying how much they love the colour of the stripes, and I love the colour of the stripes too, which is why I chose them. And it reminds me of I had two jumpers like this when I was little, and the point of the Sew Back challenge was to recreate something you wore when you were little, and this is my recreation, and I will show you the original photo at some point. You may already have seen it and it's just telling me to get on with it, which I will do. So that is my entry for the Sew Back challenge. I will have the photos on Instagram as well, so if you follow me there at katie.writes.stuff, because some jerk had stolen Katie Writes Stuff without the dots, and you will see a couple more of the photos and some of the details. Why not also show you? This was made from this pattern here, which is incredible. I love the colours they chose, but I just went with oddments of my own and it all worked out nicely. So since I started with knitting, I'll continue with knitting. I will go to the first project I finished in June, which is this cardigan jackety thing with amazing shoulder details, and I have indeed finished it. And if you don't count buttons as a necessity for a cardigan, which most people would, but for some reason I love hand sewing except buttons. So it doesn't have buttons yet, but I rarely wear my cardigans done up, so it's not vital, but it does look weird without them, and I will be adding them. I have some amazing bright pink buttons that will go on it that I got from my mum, and then it will be actually complete. Now the sewing components was a bit lacking, but I've made up for that this month, don't worry. And my first one was this New Look 6428, which I wore in a previous video, but you can also see here. I just want to point out it was about 2 degrees outside when I was shooting these photos, so that shows my extreme dedication to you. And also my knitted garments were really warm, so I didn't realise how cold it was until I touched my tripod and realised it was freezing. I did turn it into a top, even though it was quite clearly a dress here, because when I tried it on, I loved everything from the waist up. From the waist down, it kind of highlighted things I don't like to highlight and reminded me of why I like flared skirts and pleated skirts and basically skirts that have volume to them, because I like that style on me. And in the end I decided if I left it as a dress I might wear it maybe occasionally at home when no one really could see me, but if I changed it into a top I would definitely wear it a lot. So I measured it up against an existing top, added hem, chopped it off, hemmed it, and I love it. And here I'm going to talk about the pattern. Just for knits, it says. And I thought, great, I'm going to learn some techniques just for knits with a pattern that's just for knits. Except you make it by using darts, neck facings, and a zip, which is something I associate with wovens, which don't move as much as knits do and need that sort of thing to shape them. It is not just for knits. I in fact looked on Pattern Review and I found people who have made this with wovens because it is not a pattern just for knits, and I found that incredibly frustrating. I thought, I do love the top, I think it has great shape, but I wanted to be learning new skills. I didn't want to be making the same type of dress with a different type of fabric. I wanted an actual pattern for knits. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I like the sleeves better on this than the other pattern I've been using, but I can probably adapt to the other pattern. It is pretty easy, but you can make it with any fabric, and I just don't know why they said just for knits on here because I found it frustrating. Next month, or in a couple of weeks, when I talk about my July makes, I will talk about the other pattern I've been using to make some tops and why that one actually is for knits. And well, I won't tell you now because it'll ruin the surprise, but this one looks cute, but it's not just for knits. I may have said that 6 million times, sorry about that. And my other item that I made, which you have seen in a previous video, and is my underwear, which I've been threatening to make for ages, and I finally got off my backside and made some, and is based on this Bevknits 7007 pattern from the 60s or 70s. I have adapted the pattern to fit me and me alone, and I'm very excited. I have made 3 pairs with this fabric, and I've made 2 pairs with dinosaur fabric, and I'm going to make a million more pairs because you can literally see through my existing underwear. It is not meant to be see-through. That is not the type of underwear I choose to wear. So it's fantastic to have replacement underwear that fits me perfectly. And that is everything I made in June. And like I said, it's not very much. And I think it was because I was working on projects in June that sort of have trailed over into July. So I finished a whole bunch of stuff off at the start of July, which is going to make me look super productive. And you'll find out all about it in my hour-long video of July makes in a couple of weeks. I did have a week off from work, which didn't actually enable me to make very many things because I was off doing fun things. I went to the beach, as I said. We went to an antiques market and found not a lot of things. There's a little green box behind me which contains one of the things I found. And when I say I mean Tim, because I've mentioned a couple of times I'm really bad at looking closely at things. Cup of tea time. But I believe I've rambled on at you long enough. I will definitely be back next week. I'll be showing you some treasures and things. And the week after that, I will show you the 5 million things I've made in July, which has been strangely productive, even though I don't recall having that much time to sew or knit. It did help taking my machine up to my parents' place and sewing with my mum, because I've almost assembled an entire skirt, and it's so much fun to be sewing it on an old machine. There are some challenges. Oh my god, the stitches on that thing are amazing. And speaking of this, I am going to be starting a new series which I've been planning for a little while, and it's going to be so vintage with me, and I'm going to be taking a pattern from a particular era, either an actual vintage or a reproduction, and sewing it on a machine from that era. I think I actually have enough sewing machines to do that, which is well, I think it's exciting, but some people might think it's a bit worrying. So stay tuned for that, because I think that will be a lot of fun, and you'll be able to hear about some of the challenges of using older machines, especially the foot pedals. So that is it from me. I have a cup of tea to finish and savour, stay warm in my lovely jumper. I hope you're all having a fantastic time doing all that knitting and sewing and whatever crafts you might also be engaged in. I hope it's a bit warmer where you are, and I will see you all again next week, and I'll be sharing some treasures with you then. But until then, have a fantastic time, and I'll see you soon. Bye.